Some Glenn Miller Christmas music to get our Christmas Eve show underway for today. It's Helping Seniors of Brevard. I'm John Harper, and Kerry Fink is our host and Executive Director of Helping Seniors of Brevard. Kerry, Merry Christmas to you. Very special being here on the radio with you Christmas Eve.
Absolutely, John Harper, and Merry Christmas right back at you. You know, it's the most wonderful time of the year, as they often say, and we're going to do our best to help you with some ideas and things to make this a good holiday season. And that means sometimes you have to confront a few things along the way in the holiday season. We're going to get to all of that. But first, I wanted to just first welcome everybody to the show. It's always great to be here lunchtime on Wednesdays, 12 noon, right here on 90.3 FM WEJF, and online as well at WEJF.net. And for those folks who always come back and find us as a podcast, every place good podcasts are found, that could be Apple, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, you name it. If there's a podcast place, we will be there, because our objective as Helping Seniors, a 501c3, is to just try to make sure you have good information that's going to help you on your way with your aging plan. And I think today's show is going to be really, really helpful and maybe hopefully inspiring to make the most of the holidays. It's time for everybody to get together and enjoy company. And, you know, I want to go ahead and bring in actually our guest for this week. It's she's a really a fixture with everything on Helping Seniors and has been for years and years and years. Just a great person who knows a lot about seniors and helping seniors. In fact, so often people get the nonprofit Helping Seniors. The names are so similar. They go, is it the same thing as Seniors Helping Seniors? And that, of course, is the company that hires seniors to help seniors. And Jennifer Barton, the owner of Seniors Helping Seniors, is here with us today. Merry Christmas, Jennifer.
Merry Christmas. It's great to be here.
It is. You know, here we are. It's hard for me to imagine that our mutual friend Joe Steckler got all this rolling 15 years ago. And I was just telling somebody the other day, Jennifer, that what Joe envisioned for us to do with the work of Helping Seniors only gets more important day by day. We were talking, we had this beautiful event last Friday there at Joe's Senior Resource Center, which is where our offices are there at 1344 South Apollo Boulevard. And both John Harper and Jim Votro and a whole lot of other people were there joining us because we were celebrating Joe Steckler Day, which is the city of Melbourne has declared that to be his birthday. But, you know, we were talking at that time saying, you know, Joe was so far ahead of his time, recognizing the need that we have to do more for seniors here in Brevard County, because Jennifer, as you see, there's just more and more seniors every single day.
Absolutely. And we're fortunate that we're living that long. We're living longer, so we have more seniors. But it does need that we need to kind of step up our game and do better about taking care of our seniors and lifting them up.
You know, and that's really the important part of the whole story. You know, if you, as you know the story, Joe had begun helping seniors after a full career of building up the Brevard Alzheimer's Foundations and getting those Joe's Clubs built, because he said, you know, when I met him at that time, and of course, John was helping him from before when John is president of the organization, but he was helping Joe back in the day when Joe was building the Brevard Alzheimer's. And I remember meeting Joe and him saying, Kerry, he said, I learned a lot. He said, a lot of families do have cognitive issues that they have to work through, but he goes, every family has senior issues and they need help trying to find the right way to navigate through all those. And so here we are 15 years later in the work of Helping Seniors, and excited to try to make a difference for seniors and their families. And that was really the thing, Jennifer, I was hoping we would be able to talk about as we were trading emails and saying, hey, we're going to be here on Christmas Eve. And I know we're probably going to get interrupted sometime with some kind of a NORAD alert that they've spotted Santa Claus leaving the North Pole and all that. But, you know, you and I have talked for years that this is a very busy time of year for you guys, because I guess as families get together for the holidays, people suddenly realize that, maybe mom or dad needs more help than they were letting on that they might need when they talk to them on the phone, when they're long distance from Chicago or something. And, it just seems like it would be great. I'm glad you suggested we have this conversation, and we titled it, You're Home for the Holidays, What to Notice, What to Ignore, and What Can Wait, because the phones just always start ringing as the holidays move through, and people say, we're gonna have to shift something as we go into the new year.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this year, for some reason, it's been busier than ever, which is a wonderful thing. Like I said earlier, I'm not complaining.
Right.
But it's hard though when it's right around the holidays, because people will come down and they realize, oh, mom isn't doing as well as I thought she was. What do we do? And they're in a little bit of a panic. And I on this Christmas Eve, I want to remember the reason for the season and take a step back and have everyone, take a breath and really just enjoy your mom, your dad, your loved one during this holiday. Don't panic. There are things that, yes, we can't ignore, but there are things that we can say, okay, this holiday season, over this next couple of days, I'm just going to observe. I'm going to watch, look at the signs. What am I actually seeing? Let's not hit the panic button, but let's kind of take a step back and really observe and really enjoy the moment with your family and your friends. And then take those observations and look at them to see, okay, is this normal aging? Is this something that needs to be addressed immediately? Or is it something that maybe, okay, we've got a couple weeks to put into place? Where is that in the pecking order? But let's not hit the panic button. And let's really enjoy today, tomorrow, over the next couple of weeks, through New Year's, really enjoy and be present in the moment with our families.
That is so well said. Last month, you and I always have the privilege of getting together on the fourth Wednesday of each month and kind of talking about some of the issues that are kind of front and center. And if you remember last month, which, by the way, it's available as a podcast, we were talking about prepping for the holidays, senior edition. And I remember one of the points that we were talking about was the fact that a lot of times, while it's supposed to be the most wonderful time of the year, it can also be a very tough time of the year, because, everybody always comes up with these things. Well, it's the first Christmas without so-and-so, or there's a lot of memories or things that may not always be pleasant. And I think the advice that you're talking about today about staying present in the moment is really the thing, because you can't really do a whole lot to change things that are behind. And, tomorrow's going to have enough stuff for us to work on. So we can just deal with that when we get here. It's really time to, I think, just like you said, appreciate the moment that we're in with the holidays.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, as we're going through those holidays, yes, absolutely. Be observant and notice, maybe even have a little list on the side of what you are noticing. Be observant, so that you have some information that you can maybe sit down and discuss with someone, a home care agency or a care coordinator that can help you walk through to determine, okay, this is normal aging. Yes, they're eating less. Okay, that's pretty typical. But maybe, yellow light or what is a red light, like we need to do something quickly.
We talk about this a lot in the Helping Seniors world, that really we get the calls, on the Senior Information Helpline, and I'm going to give you that number here at 321-473-7770, 321-473-7770. And it should be no surprise, again, this year, easily 4,000 plus calls handled by that phone number. And we get the calls about everything. And Jennifer, I know they call you too. And a lot of times I was just using this in a speech I had the privilege of giving to a women's group that was meeting over at the Yellow Dog Cafe earlier this week. They were having their holiday lunch and they invited us to come and share about helping seniors. I said, we all know the expression deer in a headlights look, right? And so I said, you can tell when you pick up the phone, you get that deer in a headlights look over the phone when somebody is in the middle of some kind of like a chronic situation that they know just sprang upon them and they didn't really get a chance to to give it as much thought or think ahead. And that's why one of the reasons that Joe embarked on that thing, he called it the aging plan. We call it getting your ducks in a row, just so you're thinking a little bit ahead and trying to organize yourself. So in case stuff comes to pass, you already have said, I might call Jennifer Barton at Seniors Helping Seniors and see how that might work or how that might solve the situation. Or in your case, a lot of times you're the one that's hiring seniors to do, so you're a great employer for seniors. Well, but I guess the point that I wanted to kind of like bring it back to was there is so much good help out there. But a lot of times when we are in that deer in the headlights moment of trying to figure out what the next best move is, we don't realize that there is good help that could make a difference. Just like what you're talking about, especially when kids have to fly back home and they can't really be in town with mom or things like that. But now their radar level is up and they want to make sure mom and dad are okay. Right,
absolutely. And I know exactly, because you can hear that in their voice. So, when you're talking about that deer in the headlights, you can hear it in their voice. And, and I think that's too some of the calls that we've gotten this week. And it's, no, it's okay. It's okay. That is, something that needs to be addressed, but it doesn't have to be today. And there are resources. And I think that's, what's great about, helping seniors of Brevard and with us at Seniors Helping Seniors is we have those resources. So, and I know you've mentioned this before too, where, if you've got a medical issue, you've got a doctor in the family or a nurse in the family, hey, I know somebody, we're going to call them and we're going to get some information and it's going to be okay. They give you peace of mind. Not all of us are very well versed in senior matters. Sometimes it's the first senior that we've come across. This is my mom and she's aging, and all of a sudden there's an issue and I don't know who to go to, and I don't have anybody like that in my family. Calling Helping Seniors, because they have the resources. They can tell you, give you peace of mind. Hey, you're not alone. There are people that can help with that. And I think that's what's wonderful about, being able to have that helpline to be able to call and say, no, here are the myriad of resources that we have here in Brevard County. And that's what we try to do at Seniors Helping Seniors too, is to make sure families have what they need. And sometimes, they'll call and have that deer in the headlights moment. And by the end, they've got peace of mind. Okay, we're actually in better shape than we thought we were. There are services for this. There are some free resources for this. We're going to take a team approach and it's going to be okay.
Yeah. No, Jennifer, we have talked so long about, like I said, Joe called it an aging plan. We call it getting your ducks in a row, but we've added a couple of rules to it. We say, number one, don't try this on your own, because even as you were just explaining that, I was thinking about our mutual friend that Amy Van Fossen, who's one of the top elder law attorneys here in our community. And I always give her credit for this saying. She says, families come in and they talk to us about whatever's going on. And for most of them, this is the first or second time in their entire life that they've ever been confronted with these kind of questions or whatever's going on. And she goes, for us, 30, 40 of these a week. And we've been doing this for, basically what amounts to 20 years. Yeah. So, and I was thinking about the same thing. If somebody calls Seniors Helping Seniors, and they're saying, okay, I'm trying to figure out, I might need some help. I don't know exactly even the right question to ask, but this is what's good about all the experience that you have. How to help guide a family through what's right, and also to do it most cost-effective way that's going to work given their situation. Am I saying that right?
Absolutely. We have 5 clients that have been with us for 10 years, which is amazing. Yeah. But we've been able to keep them for 10 years because we've have been flexible, because we know their schedules and their budget needs that. So we've been able to be flexible with them and only grow when they've really needed it. One woman in particular that I can think of off the top of my head, in the very beginning, we were only on a monthly basis. Now we're 3 times a week. So we've grown as her needs have grown. But But yeah, having the right service at the right time can not only keep people at home healthier longer, but also kind of stretch that budget out so that, they might be able to have care in the home for a lot longer versus going into an assisted living or a memory care.
Yeah, and there's another thing too. I think that happens. It's worth to bring up, which is the fact that because of your experience in this, is the joke is it's not our first rodeo, because you've done this for so long and you've been part of families trying to navigate these aging things for so long. You also know when it's right to make the call to say, okay, we're going to have to step something up because now we've arrived at this point. So instead of the family just trying to figure this stuff out kind of on the fly, when you have somebody that really understands aging involved, you're going to be able to, basically counsel the family and say, well, here's where we're at. And based on this, maybe it's time to take a look at, whatever that might be.
Oh, absolutely. And we'll tell the senior and their family members that we're going to be very honest about that, because there are times when they need a higher level of care than we can provide. And we're going to be honest and tell them that. Or we feel that they really would be better served in an assisted living. We're going to tell them it as well, because sometimes people are so social. And if they're really, they've got us coming in 2 or 3 times a week, but they're super social people. No, they need to be in a community environment where they can stay in their apartment if they would like to, but get out for meals and go take part of activities and crafts and singing and different things. That's going to help keep their skills up. So we're very honest about that, because we want the seniors to have the right care at the right time. And, there's a number of us in the industry that feel that same way, because, it comes back down to doing the right thing. When you do the right thing, good things happen. And we have so many seniors here in Brevard that, I'm not worried about the number of customers. I'm more worried about, making sure that the senior has the right thing for themselves.
And that's so important, because I was going to say that, there's 650,000 people, give or take, here in Brevard County. And literally, I always quote, because we try to advocate so much for seniors all the time. We say, in Brevard County, you either are a senior, love and care for a senior, or give yourself a year or two, God willing, you will become a senior. And so literally half of the population in Brevard is 50 plus, and literally a quarter of the population is 65 plus. And so the thing is, when somebody gets the right help that's going to make a difference, I always say, like, those of us in the world of helping seniors, I really think it would be wrong if inside the people that work and help with the concept that Joe set us off to do, which is just be a great navigation resource, kind of to the best we can, a great safety net to make sure that if there's something that can help a senior, we're going to try to point them in the right direction. But I really don't perceive the people who partner with helping seniors as competing with each other. In fact, I think what we're trying to do is complete the equation so that seniors really are getting the best care possible. And I've seen you, when it becomes time to make a turn and something is getting a little bit more serious, beyond, kind of like the companion rung, you have a lot of resources, and you can say, well, here's somebody trustworthy that you can trust to talk to. If it comes down to, hey, somebody's got to downsize or make a move now, you have also a great, we used to call it a Rolodex. Now I guess it's just a contact list, but the people to call to make sure that seniors are being dealt with fairly, but also effectively.
Exactly. And we love doing that, because we know then that person is going to get the help that they need from a trusted source. We, like Carlette, I know we were on the radio a couple months ago with Carlette. Yeah. From Flamazing Real Estate. And right. I just love her because she knows how to deal with seniors. She's done it her whole life. She's a real estate specialist, but she really specializes in seniors and in their needs. And, because that's a senior moving is a little bit different than maybe a 25-year-old moving. There's just different things within the house and different things that we have to take into consideration. And she knows that intimately. So she is going to handle that move so much differently than maybe a brand new real estate agent who, is just really interested in selling a house. So I love to be able to give those resources that I know are going to really treat people well, do a great job, not take advantage. So that's the wonderful thing about our community, is being able to have those contacts to give to people.
Not only that, it's also like the challenge for those of us when we're facing these aging questions, we don't really even know enough to know the right questions to ask, which is why you have to find somebody that you can trust to help you kind of steer your way through it. Find somebody who's reputable. Yes, they're doing business, but they want to do business the right way, which means benefiting the senior and the family that's involved. And so one of the things I want to do, I know we're sort of getting close into that zone where we're going to take our mid-show break, but I want to make sure that people know how to reach you, Jennifer Barton, and Seniors Helping Seniors, because you're such a wealth of knowledge about this because of the experience and the work that you've done over the years with this. You've been so involved in everything we do with helping seniors. You understand the work of this too, but also you are a great resource to help families navigate and find that right next step so that it's effective but efficient for the family to be able to get that help going.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. How do people get in touch with you?
So we can be contacted at the office. Our number is 321-722-2999. Again, that's 321-722-2999. And we're open 9 to 5, but we're always someone always has the on-call phone. So I'll be on call tonight and tomorrow. But we are online. We're on the web, social media. So if you Googled Seniors Helping Seniors in Brevard County, you would find us.
Absolutely. No, you guys are an amazing resource. And I guess if you're on call tonight, you'll also be able to sit up late and put out some cookies and milk for Santa and probably even say hello to him. I guess
absolutely. I'll be looking for Rudolph's nose in our family. We got to watch the sky for Rudolph's nose.
There you go. Does Santa qualify as a senior? I mean, he's something like, what is it, 600 years old or something? I'm not sure.
Cancer and Vixen, Comet and Cupid and Donner and Blitzen. But do you recall the most famous reindeer of all?
I don't think he's a senior, but I think I need his help versus the other way around.
There you go. Well, that would be a pretty good clue to go to the mid-show break, and we're going to come back and continue the conversation. You're home for the holidays, what to notice, what to ignore, and what can wait. And we'll have our special guest, Jennifer Barton with Seniors Helping Seniors. So stay tuned with us.
John Harper with you. Delighted to be here with you, and also delighted to have the host and the executive director of Helping Seniors of Brevard. Here's Kerry Fink. Kerry?
Hey, thank you, John Harper. It's great to be back for the second half of the Helping Seniors radio show. It's our lunchtime gathering every week right here on 90.3 FM WEJF, and also for those listening at WEJF.net. We appreciate you as well. Our endeavor is always to bring you information that's going to help you make your best aging plan. And in fact, next week, as we get into the new year, everybody's going to be starting to talk about those New Year's resolutions. And one of the things we definitely want to do is see if we can get our ducks in a row and help us get an aging plan together. And so a little bit what we've been talking about today is while we're getting ready for a wonderful Christmas Eve and waiting on Santa's arrival and hopefully enjoying some hot chocolate and all the things that we would be doing at this time of year. We're also having a great conversation with none other than Jennifer Barton with Seniors Helping Seniors. And we are literally having a conversation about home for the holidays. And sometimes that can bring a few surprises and things like that. And so we want to talk a little bit through how to map all of that out. Welcome back, Jennifer.
It is wonderful to be here.
We were talking a lot during the pandemic era, as it has come to be known, that that really pointed out exactly how valuable the work that you do with seniors helping seniors, i.e., hiring seniors to help seniors and make that a real plus for the families, because we've talked about it so often. Many times, even on our helpline, Jennifer, we'll get calls from themselves and asking us for help. Maybe sometimes it's for themselves, sometimes it's for their significant other, but many times it can be the adult kids of this mom or dad or aunt or uncle who are now just trying to navigate because they're getting a sense that stuff could be piling up for them. And I remember we talked about a couple of things during this time of year. The family visits often send somebody home. It's like, wow, I talk to mom every week, and how you guys doing? Oh, we're just fine down here. But then when I come down here, I say like, ooh, doesn't look as good as it sounded on the phone. You see that all the time. And then during COVID, it became impossible for the kids to be able to travel down and check in on mom and dad. So people really rely on you to be that link that keeps the senior safe, but also keeps the family informed.
Absolutely. And that's why I wanted to talk a little bit today about, what to ignore, what is kind of normal signs of aging. I'm seeing a difference, but is that okay? Is it not okay? But then also, what may be something to notice, kind of a yellow light, or, if there are safety concerns, what is that red light that we do need to really look at and take action immediately?
Yeah. And so how do we, what are the things that you might tell a family to look for? Because they're going to call, say, I'm sure we were saying in the first half of the show, it could be like the deer in the headlights look that all of a sudden, they're like, wow, something is definitely going to have to change. We just don't know what it is. How do you guide somebody when they call you? I mean, obviously every call is different, but how do you in general start to tackle with somebody and try to help them, I guess, for lack of a better way to put it, navigate their way through so they can make good decisions about all of this? So
at first we do a lot of listening. What is happening? What is going on? If there are, some early warning signs, but things that, maybe just normal aging, not eating quite as much as they used to, or maybe resting a little bit more than they used to. Maybe the house isn't quite as neat as it used to be, but it's still safe. It's still clean. Those are things that we notice, but it's probably not a big deal. Even repeating stories. I know a lot of times like, oh, I already told you that. Oh, I wonder if mom's got something going on. Think about it. If you are by yourself most of the time, and now all of a sudden you've got people to tell stories to, you might forget that you've already told that story to cousin Joe. And now you're you think you're telling it to somebody else, and oh no, I've already told that story. I mean, that's not uncommon. So that's not a reason to panic. We all walk into a room and forget why we were there.
Right.
Especially this time of year when there's a lot going on and we're stressed and it's busy. So, we're not going to panic about that. That's okay. That's normal aging. But, when we're coming out to do assessments, if we're seeing things that, maybe, especially the refrigerator, there is expired food in there. So that's not becoming a cleanliness issue. That's now going into that safety. The laundry is really piling up. We're noticing lots of notes everywhere. And that's something that I think you kind of get to know as you do these assessments. You go into people's homes. That's a surefire sign to me. When I walk in and they have written everything down everywhere, and they write everything down because they're afraid they're going to forget, because they are forgetting. So that is those are all things to notice. Those are the kind of the yellow lights really looking. And when you start noticing those things, that's when you're down, you can be a little bit of a detective. So I'm down, I'm visiting mom in Florida. I'm not so sure that she's taking her medications. That's when you can kind of go by and take a peek at that medicine bottle and see what the date is on it. Does it seem to be up to date, or was it from 3 years ago? Oh, yeah, I take my meds. Not in 3 years. So, those are things. Looking at the car. Does the car look great, or do we have some scratch and dents that weren't there before?
Yeah.
Because maybe driving is no longer safe, or people aren't changing their clothes. The hygiene, something's going on with the hygiene, where they're not taking care of themselves like they used to, or they've lost weight.
Mm-hmm.
So those are all kind of red lights, things that we really, if there's medication errors, if there's any health concerns, we want to take those very seriously and get something going right away for those things.
It's often said it takes a village to raise kids. Everybody says, well, it's a lot of work and we want to do it right. So we get a lot of people involved. You get teachers involved, you get, family involved. There's a whole thing to it. But one of the things that's really seems so important is it takes that same thing when it comes to mom or dad or aunt or uncle, but taking care of seniors. We say it takes a village. And one of the reasons I think that is, Jennifer, is because, each of us, I always make this joke. I said, we live in a county that's full of rocket scientists. I mean, we launch rockets right here from Kennedy. So we have some of the smartest people on the planet right here in Brevard County by definition because of the work that they're doing. And yet, you could be an expert in that lane or whatever lane that you are an expert and very skilled at. But then when you come into these aging questions, if it's not your lane, first of all, it's almost like you're in first grade or second grade, but you need to be able to be there at a postdoctorate level to answer some of the questions everybody's asking you, right? And so getting help to answer those questions is good. I mean, I remember, in our own family situation, as moms were getting older and trying to figure out, doctors saying, well, this needs to happen and we can't discharge mom safely here. So what do you want to do? And then, you think, wow, I don't really even know what the right way to think about this is. And then they're tossing you guides and saying, just pick a spot for mom. And you're making long-term decisions without really having the ability to have adequate information. And this is why the counsel that somebody is very experienced, like you and the team at Seniors Helping Seniors, is able to do. I have the same thing. Like we were talking about this, talking with board certified elder law attorney Bill Johnson, because he's always our guest on the first Wednesday of each month. But he says the same thing. He said, Kerry, he said, we get a plethora of calls right around this time of year for the same reason. All of a sudden, people are getting concerned about like, wow, we better get some of this organized before it gets out of hand. And I guess you see that all the time, too.
Oh, absolutely. I was talking to a friend who was texting me this morning as I was getting ready for work. And she happened to go out to dinner last night and visited with some old friends, the kids. And the kids are here visiting mom and dad and expressing some concerns. So we were kind of going back and forth of what are the resources for the kids.
Right.
And you very, very well educated people. I'm so sorry. My dog is here.
Well, it's okay, Jennifer, because a lot of times when we post out the pictures from the radio studio, we have Artica, the Wonder Dog, who is John Harper's kind of mascot for the radio show and everything. So we are very dog friendly. No worries.
Well, there you go. Lola is putting her 2 cents in.
There you go. It's just saying we got to call Seniors Helping Seniors. But I guess a point that I wanted to come back and talk a little bit about as we're thinking about it is just what you were saying. Like, so the good news is when this person, this friend of a friend, if you will, was coming to you and saying, we really are trying to figure out how to manage this next step. The good news is they are connected to you, even if it's like second degree or however that all works, because now they're going to be able to talk to somebody who understands how to navigate and make those steps, the right steps, to be sure it's safe, to be sure it's financially efficient, and to be sure it's going to be effective for mom or dad.
Absolutely. And it's not going to be from just already, I can tell in the brief texting back and forth this morning that they're going to need someone like Bill Johnson. They're going to need an elder attorney to talk through things and do some planning in that way. They're probably going to need some home care, but then they're going to need to do some some long-term planning about what next steps might look like. The one family member is on a memory journey, and I know you've had some experience that, and I've had that in my own family, and it does take a village. And there are things that we need to do right now, and then there are things that you need to plan on for later on down the road. And when you first get into that world, it's very overwhelming and it can be very stressful. And oh my gosh, what do we do? It's okay. Here's what we're going to do now. Here's the name of the elder, attorney. Talk to them, set the plan in place for later on. So you've got it covered. You're going to know where that is going. And if you need that level of care, what's going to happen. So putting that all into place is so important. But it starts with having a conversation from somebody who knows what that all looks like and can explain it.
Everything you're saying is really harping on 2 points that I love to make every chance that I get to. And, we say everybody needs an aging plan or a way to get their ducks in a row, but then we always add those kind of like 2 corollaries. One is don't try it on your own. Like most of us think we're masters of the internet and we love to go and do some kind of a search online. And especially now with the advent of AI, we think we're really geniuses and we're going to get even better answers than before. But the problem is, when you're on the outside of a topic and trying to look into it, you don't even really know the right questions to ask or, what one step might lead and cause to happen as a next step. And there is a real value to speaking to somebody who is local, who is a trusted business resource. And Jennifer, we haven't even gotten into any of the conversation that we usually do about the fact that one of the dangerous things to do is pluck a business card off of a bulletin board, maybe at the library or at church or something. And somebody says, I'll come watch mom or dad or whatever. And, they quote a rate that seems really good. But, Jennifer, we do so much in the scam world too. And I'm not saying everybody who sticks a business card out there is a scam artist, but the problem is you just don't know who you're bringing into your home. And so again, when you're trying to put this whole package of like how we're going to deal with it, you need to talk to somebody who takes this seriously, who treats it like a business, who has all the insurances, all the expertise, all the rights. And not only that, I just think about your company, even though you're the owner of Seniors Helping Seniors here locally, you have backup because Seniors Helping Seniors is an international company that there's probably nothing that they have ever not seen before and said, this is maybe, so you have places you can go if you need some backup or some ideas.
Absolutely. And isn't that amazing that it's now international? We didn't start that way, but we now have about 8 franchises in England and 1 in Malaysia, which is just mind blowing, but it's great to see the increase.
Yeah. And then the second corollary that we often talk about is we say, don't try this on your own. But the second corollary we say is don't be an ostrich and put your head in the sand, because typically aging stuff doesn't get better with time. It usually has a tendency to devolve if you don't kind of find a way to start grappling with it early on. And I think one of the things I remember you and Joe talking about this very early on. He would call it elements of care. And he would always say, Jennifer, the reason to call Seniors Helping Seniors in is because you really represent that first rung of care. It's a jumping on place. Maybe mom or dad says, no, I got this. I don't need any help. And you have a lot of experience being the first one in to kind of get mom and dad and or uncle comfortable with the idea of getting a little help, because there's so many family dynamics that come into that. If the kids are trying to say, Mom, you need help. No, I'm fine. And then it becomes less productive maybe than everybody hopes.
Oh, absolutely. And we are a lot of times the first ones in because of our level of care. And we have those conversations all the time. So we've gotten really good at that part and explaining because we realize not everybody is in the business. They don't know what all these acronyms mean, and they don't know what Medicaid versus Medicare versus other benefits that might be eligible for long-term care. So we really try to take a step back and explain it and walk people through that. And one of the things I did want to mention, going back, you were talking about, not grabbing that card off, but also, I'm going to talk to Aunt Betty in New York. She knows. Yeah, but the laws are different in Florida. So state by state, things can be different. So just because someone has dealt with it 20 years ago in a different state does not mean that they're an expert. Here and now, rules change, laws change, the industry changes. Long-term care insurance has changed over the years. And Florida is different than, I'm from upstate New York, so I use New York a lot.
Right.
We have different rules than New York does. So I can't do any planning because they're just going to take my house. No, that's not what happens here in Florida. Please go talk to an elder attorney, do some planning. Don't put your head in the sand. Really go ahead and start getting some help and get things taken care of. You will feel so much better. The planning will be done. You'll have peace of mind, and get a little bit of help now. It can, a lot of times we are able to keep people at home very healthy, very happy, because they've got a little bit of help. Where if they have no help at all, then they deteriorate more quickly and they end up going to a level of care that they didn't want to be in. And sometimes you just can't talk someone into care, but we've gotten pretty good at those, no, I don't need help conversations, because we're not here to take over. We're not here to do things differently than you've always done them. We want to keep you at home where you want to be. And sometimes that is getting someone comfortable with having a little bit of care, and then in a year saying, okay, it's time for that next step. But at least now they've gotten used to having somebody in the house, and it opens that door for that next level.
As you're talking about that, this analogy, it may not be 100% appropriate, but I was thinking it's like, why whenever you get a car and you read in the back of the owner's manual, it suggests certain maintenance things to be done at a certain period of time. Why? Because if you pay a little bit now, you're going to prevent a disaster later, like, with your oil changes and different things like that. And I was thinking there probably is some analogy to be drawn here, because when you get somebody involved at what I would consider a more nominal kind of expenditure, you're getting versed. It really is preventative maintenance, because to some extent you're going to be much safer, secure, have much better peace of mind. You're also going to be on the road together with somebody who can help you tell when it's time to, maybe take another step or whatever might be the next level on the journey. But this is the value that you get when you call somebody that really has experience. And we talk about this, Jennifer, not only as it pertains in terms of home care, but we're always advocating that you do the same thing with any senior related issue. Get somebody who's local, get somebody who's a specialist in what you're talking about, who understands the lay of the land, and then you will look brilliant because you're following the advice of people who know what to do. And like I said, the peace of mind, the amount of arguments that would be reduced just through the whole process of having a process, rather than just reacting to whatever is being thrown at you. And I just, as we kind of get towards a wrapping up place, I wanted to be sure, again, we're talking with Jennifer Barton with Seniors Helping Seniors. It's a great company that not only provides help at home, but you also hire seniors. But I want to make sure people know about that and how to reach you, so that hopefully they'll follow up and say, that was a good conversation. I want to find out more.
Absolutely. And we do. We love to hire seniors. Typically, it's someone who's retired. They would like a part-time job that they can feel really good about. Give us a ring, 321-722-2999. seniorshelpingseniors.com/Brevard. We're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We would love to hear from you. And if you are a senior or a family member that, maybe your loved one needs a little bit of help, give us a ring and we can talk through if our level of care is appropriate, and what resources there are. We don't mind having the conversation. Sometimes we're not a good fit, but here's the resources that you need, to make the good decisions for your loved one.
Very well said. Jennifer Barton, owner with Seniors Helping Seniors right here in Brevard County. You guys have been serving. I just remember you being involved in helping Joe almost from the day that he got this whole organization going. So that's 15 years in the Helping Seniors world, and you must have been here for well over the bulk of it. But Jennifer Barton, Seniors Helping Seniors. Well, we just have a moment or two, and I guess I wanted to double check and see, I guess NORAD is tracking Santa Claus. Here we are on Christmas Eve. It's just praying that you will have a wonderful, regardless of where you are in the faith walk or whatever. For me, it's a great time of year because I just believe, for me personally, Jesus is the reason for the season. But wherever you are, it's a time that everybody should be able to come together and be a little bit kinder, a little bit friendlier, and really let's do good. And Jennifer, I am so excited about next year and the things that are coming up because the need, like I said at the outset of the show, that Joe Steckler saw is just more and more important. And I think as we get the community pulled more together to focus on seniors, we're going to have a great 2026 together, Jennifer.
Absolutely. We all need to help one another.
Yeah, no, it's for sure. So I just want to make sure before we part ways and hope that you have a great Christmas Eve. I just want to make sure one more time that you have our number. This is for Helping Seniors. We're the charity, and we will get you pointed wherever you need to go to the best of our ability. You just reach us at area code 321-473-7770. I'm going to say that again, 321-473-7770. You can also find us at helpingseniorsofbrevard.org if you're online. And we certainly invite you to follow us along on Facebook and maybe check out our YouTube channel, subscribe to that. Lots of good information. In fact, Jennifer, we've done a lot of radio shows, a lot of TV shows. You've done a lot of articles and everything. That is a great resource. Maybe people heard us talking about this and they want to explore a little bit more about that. And that's all going to be found there. And one more time before we hang up the phone on a Christmas Eve broadcast right here on 90.3 FM WEJF. Want to make sure, Jennifer, we give one more opportunity for how folks can get in touch with you as well, Seniors Helping Seniors.
Thank you. Our number is 321-722-2999. I want to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and just go relax and enjoy your loved ones.
Yeah, I love your advice. Let's be present in the moment and enjoy the next few days. And we'll have plenty of time to get into 2026 and make all that work the right way. But for now, just want to sign off for today and say very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, enjoy the new year. We'll be right back here on New Year's Eve. So be sure you come back for radio next Wednesday. See you then. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.